They know the money is coming to go. So what?
Outrage in Kansas City, Missouri, where a community is demanding answers after a black teenager was shot after ringing the wrong doorbell. Police say the teen went to pick up his siblings on Thursday night, mistakenly went to the wrong house where a resident of the home shot him twice. The 16-year-old is said to be in stable condition at this hour.
So as you heard, ladies and gentlemen, this video is about a 16-year-old black male who mistakenly knocked on the wrong door while he was going to pick up his siblings and was shot twice. Once in the head, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He was a top clarinet player for the state of Kansas City, Missouri. And the clarinet is one of the harder instruments to play out of the instruments in school. How do I know? Not because I played, but because my daughter played. And I was funding the situation, and I learned a lot about clarinets and clarinet playing while she was doing it. It takes a lot of focus, takes a lot of time, energy in order to play this instrument and to be one of the top in the state. I say that to say, more than likely, in order for him to be this good, he couldn't have been a troubled kid. A troubled kid is too busy starting trouble, and that's why they're not the best clarinet player. Anyways, this disturbs me on so many different levels. So many. I mean, it's hard to even start with this one. You know, this is, even though he's still alive, and I think they're saying that he's gonna make it, it's still like a Trayvon moment, you know? You have a citizen who takes it upon himself to say, oh, I thought he was a criminal, so I shot him. And the chief, the police chief, white woman, they don't arrest him. They bring the guy down to the precinct for questioning. He sits there for 24 hours, and then he's released. Now, on this channel, I want to be blunt and 100% honest. I don't care what color you are. If you didn't come here to hear the truth, leave now. But let's be honest here. If this shooter was a black person, would he have gotten released in 24 hours after shooting someone innocent? I highly doubt it. Because in most cases in America, even when a black man is protecting himself and he's in the right for shooting someone, he still goes down for at least manslaughter at the minimum. Now, I'm not one to hate anyone, and I'm not one to promote hate speech, and I'm not one to promote violence. But let me explain something to you here, black people, okay? For 400 to 500 damn near years now, these people have not felt our pain, our cries, our tears, and they constantly kill our children and lock them away forever for making their first teenage mistake. I have a cousin right now who got locked up when he was 16. He's 31 right now, still locked up. Granted, he did something horrible, but he was a fucking teen and he learned his lesson. He was a good kid who just got caught up. And this is what they do to our kids. Meanwhile, they pat their kids on the hand. I was living in North Carolina once, and there was this white boy named Seth. You know, at the time I was selling a lot of weed. Seth was my connect. Seth would take me to Wilmington, I believe it was, which was on the coast of North Carolina. He would take me there and pick up the weed. Wilmington or Winston-Salem, I think it was Wilmington. We would go there and pick up the weed and come back. And so me and Seth ended up becoming cool. Here's what Seth told me. And I'm going to talk in his country voice, the way he used to talk. Man, you know, one time I got pulled over, man. I had a whole half a key on me. And they caught me, they saw it and everything. And the cops that pulled me over, they knew me and they knew my uncle was the sheriff of the county. So before they did anything, they gave my uncle a call. My uncle pulled up and personally, and he talked this shit to me, man, but he grabbed the key and threw it in his trunk and they took off, man, and he told me I better not never do that again, and I never heard nothing of it. Now, in case you didn't understand what I said, because I was speaking in his slang, he said he got pulled over with a half a key. The cops recognized him, knew that his uncle was the sheriff of the county. They called up his uncle first. His uncle showed up on the site, grabbed the half a key, threw it in his trunk, and said, "Get the fuck out of here, and you better not never do this again." We don't get that privilege in America, black and white people I'm speaking to here, and other people. We don't get that privilege in America. Now, granted, let me say this, in all fairness, not every white person they pull over is gonna get that privilege either. They're gonna go to jail just like us. Granted, they may get less time, but 9 times out of 10, they're gonna go to jail too. He was saved because that was his uncle. And the cops knew him and probably knew his mother and knew his brothers and his uncles and the whole family. So he was saved. Black people, when are we going to learn? When are we going to learn? Throughout the entire history of this planet Earth, no people have never come from under the rule of another people without using force. Let me say that one more time for you. In the history of the planet Earth, no people have come from under the rule of another people without using force. Now, in my mind, when I look at this whole picture, this bigger picture, 400 or 500 years we've been amongst these people and they have not felt our pain once. They can watch our kids die and get shot and say, "Oh, well, no one needs to go to jail behind this," because they don't give a damn. When will we learn? When will our black men stop being cowards? Cowards. Okay? Let me say something, black man. I'm speaking to you. If something like this was to happen to my daughter, or my son, I don't have a son, but my daughter, I go down that day, or that week at least at the minimum, because I gotta fly out there. I either go to prison or I die. Okay? The problem is black people are now scared to die for ours. It's kind of ironic because we're not scared to die in the street. We're not scared to die for nothing. It's crazy to me. Teens out here shooting for no reason, dying for no reason, but they will not die for a cause like this. We just won't. We're scared. We're scared of these people. Me, I'm going to prison. Well, that's the day my life is over. But I will not, and I repeat, I will not allow these people to use their hate for my people, their manipulation of the laws that they write on their land, for their recreation of watching my child suffer. Someone else would have to suffer. And if I gotta die for that, then I do. I'm not here just to live my life for me. I'm living it for my mother, my brothers, my children. And I must be willing to sacrifice my life for those who I love. Whoever that child's family members are, they should have already drugged that man outside in the middle of the street. And if they haven't done so by now, they should be planning to do so. Whatever consequences come with it, comes with it. We have to stop being afraid of these white people, their laws. They write the laws and manipulations so that they can get justice and we cannot. What is justice? Definition: a penalty or reward depending on one's ways and actions. So, in a lot of their ways and actions of killing us innocent, shooting us in the back, murdering our kids, Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, their penalty is they walk free. Usually. Our penalty, when we shoot someone in self-defense, manslaughter, 5 years, 10 years. What about the black girl who recently got out because the guy was trying to take her and she defended herself? Or what about the black woman who shot in the air because intruders or her ex-boyfriend or someone was trying to hurt her? She shot in the air and got 20-something years. Black people. Black people. As much as I love the story of Martin Luther King and I like how they put it together and it felt very emotional, they put it together for the purpose of wanting us to never fight back. To say it's okay to sit here and get hit in the head while we keep hitting you in the head. It's okay when it's not okay. If you look at any other group of people, the Sudanese, the Chinese, the Arabs, anyone, they fight back and they shed blood. We have become comfortable. Nice houses, nice cars, we lazy, we smoke a lot of weed, we drink a lot. We don't want to fight anymore for what we know is right. Black people, I hope somewhere in your heart that if this happens to someone you love, that you have a heart to go out there and give them people a taste of their own fucking medicine. It's chess, not checkers. They've been pumping fear into our community, into our bloodlines, into our consciousness since they've ran into us. Pumping fear. And this is a fear tactic. We can kill, you can't. I couldn't believe when I heard the police chief say, well, we got to get a statement from the victim before we can really arrest this guy. A statement from the victim. Let's think about that. In 95, I was shot in my neck. Only once. But it was my neck. Vital spot. Oh, I was drugged up. I don't even remember nothing for the first 2 months. I was so drugged up. Morphine, surgery, IVs, breathing tanks, cries all around me. I was drugged up. I didn't know shit. I ain't even know what happened, what hit me. Didn't know I was hit. Didn't know my homeboy died. Didn't know the bitches with me got hit. Should I say women? So they need a statement from the victim, who is morphined up, non-conscious, no telling how much memory he's lost from the situation, shot in the head. They need a statement from him. Why do you think they would say something like that? Because they know exactly what I just told you. We get a statement from them, it may not be accurate. This guy could have a chance to win, because it's all about what comes out of that boy's mouth once he wakes up and makes his first statement. But yet they understand he's not in a position to give you an accurate statement. You know what's in a position to give you an accurate statement? Those cameras. Why you gotta wait for his statement? Why don't you just go look at the cameras? Because they're giving this white man a chance to get out of it. That's why. And we, what are we doing? What we partying and shit? Oh, it ain't my child, it ain't my child. Your child could be next. Then you're gonna want people behind you. This is unbelievable that we even allowed. Black people, we gotta start serving our own justice out this motherfucker. We can't sit and wait for them. I don't subscribe to that. Certain things, yes. Certain things, yes. Someone steals my car, I'm not gonna shoot them. It's a car, it has insurance on it. I'm gonna call the cops and report it stolen and try to get an insurance thing, you know? But if you break in my house while I'm asleep, your ass is shot. If you hurt my child in this manner, for them just being innocent, I'm gonna hurt you the same fucking way. See, the problem with America, people, is, once again, let's just speak in layman terms. They do things and say, y'all can't do it though, niggas. We could shoot y'all, y'all can't shoot us back. We could throw y'all kids in prison, y'all can't do that to our kids. We could shoot y'all innocently, y'all can't do that. We could defend ourselves, y'all can't do that. And I'm just gonna be honest with y'all, black people. I'm just being honest when I say this too. For those who abide by that, fuck you. You just a sucker motherfucker. These white people not God. They not the last say so. They're not the end all be all. I'm a logical person, so I give them what is due to them. I give unto Caesar what is due to Caesar. Like I said, I'm not gonna be shooting anyone that's trying to steal my car. But if you hurt me and mine, I'm hurting you back. And I wouldn't give a damn what white man law legislation bill that he wrote that's helping him protect his family, but against me and mine. No. They got us caught up so in love with these material items that we have on this planet Earth, we're scared to let it go. I prayed for this young boy. I will be praying for him again. Hopefully you send up your prayers too. Black people, I don't know how we think this is gonna end. If we think marching and being a bunch of Martin Luther Kings is gonna make this end, we need to pay attention to the last 100 years. Cause we've been marching and doing that Dr. King shit for the last 100 years. And ain't nothing. Listen to me. Ain't nothing. Not even a little bit. They ain't even gave us a state to be like, you know what? Out of all 50-something states, get this one to the niggas. Puerto Rico got one. Samoans got one. They ain't even say, just get this one to the niggas. Not even a little bit. Out of 100 years that we've been protesting and marching. Reparations. Ha 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 ha. That's called comedy. Meanwhile, the Indians get their reparations. They have casinos. And shout out to the Indians. They get casinos and they get to break bread every month from the earnings of the casinos goes to the Indian families. Japanese people, the bomb of Hiroshima, they got reparations. We rebuilt their whole shit. Black people, you get nothing unless you take it. Unless you take it. So for all the black people that will always say things like, I could have been no slave back then. They would have had to kill me. They would have had to kill me. Let me tell you something. The same thing applies back then applies now. Okay? If you're giving them what they want out of you right now and kissing their ass to make sure I got a nice house and I this and that, you would have did the same thing back then. You would have kissed their ass to make sure you got your shack and you can get your pick your cotton without getting whipped. You would have did the same goddamn thing back then. The rebels are few. Those with the heart are few. Black people, we have to change this narrative. This is not a video to incite violence, because I truthfully hope the violence stops. This is a video to make people aware that they start the fucking violence all the time, or most of the time, and we need to be giving them back what they're giving to us. If they're giving us peace, you get peace back. If you giving me violence, I push right back with that shit. Now, I know, black people, we're scared after watching the stories of Black Wall Street, where they wiped them niggas out in 24 hours. We're outnumbered. And ain't no God coming from no sky to help us. That's just some bullshit that they've been selling to us. I mean, if a God was coming to the sky, from the sky to help black people, don't you think he'd have did it during slavery, which was the worst, the time we needed it the most, for someone to come from the sky to save us? Because right now, we got iPhones and shit, We could get on a rocket, we could pay to get on that rocket with Jeff Bezos and go out of space. We don't have to sit here for this shit. So I don't think that nobody's coming from the sky to save us. It would have already happened. Right now, we have ways to get to the sky our damn self. Why is it? Stop it, people. We've been tricked, hoodwinked, bamboozled into sitting on our ass and waiting for something that doesn't exist. Justice is served by the universe, carried out by the people. Anyways, I just want to do a video about that young man. I hope that him and his family is, I hope they can just take this well. The best thing about this is the young man isn't dead. Will he be coherent or back to normal? Who knows? But the way the police chief is protecting the shooter, we know he's not black. He could be Hispanic, he could be Chinese or Asian, he could be something else, but we know he's not black. Because when black people get locked up for shooting people, we stay locked up until we bail out or we do the time. They don't just release us when we shoot people. That's a white privilege in America. And there's other people that share these white privileges with white people. Like I said, it could have been an Asian or something else like that. They got that straight hair, that lighter skin, and sometimes they get some of the same privileges in America as white people as well. It's just us, that dark skin and kinky hair, that usually doesn't get a privilege at all. This pisses me off, and we need to stop marching. I admire them white people for this, they go and take what the fuck they want. They understand. January 6th, they went to that Capitol and stormed that motherfucker. And a lot of them got to do time behind it or get fines behind it. Granted, if it was us storming the Capitol, yeah, a lot of us would have got shot and a lot more time. It would still be big news right now. But my point is, when they want something, they understand. We have to go take that shit. We can't. That marching shit ain't working. It'll never work. The marching shit is just for them to sit back and entertain them to laugh at us. That's all that shit is. I can only imagine when we're marching peacefully, just sitting back there watching it, of course. Everybody's watching it. And then they're laughing. Because here's what they understand. Not one time in history has anyone taken anything by just marching down the damn street. And they got these Bible stories fucking us up in the head, marching around the walls of Jericho till the walls fell down. Listen, it had to be something else involved. That horn, something. Don't believe that fucking story the way they wrote it to you. That story comes from an original text. Go to the original text and see how it was originally wrote, and you'll probably get an entire different story. This version you're reading right now came from them Catholics, them Christians, who fucked up black people in the head. I'm just being honest here. If you know the history, they just fucked black people over in the head. Now, granted, they're all right in the head because they're doing what they need to do, which is being aggressive, taking shit, writing laws for their advantage. So they see no problem with that, with Catholics or Christianity. But black people, shit. Let me just say this, and I'm going to end it with this. We did not come on. We didn't watch the movie Shaka Zulu. My mother made me watch it when we was younger, and I loved it so much. We loved it so much as a family that we watched it every year that it came on. It used to come on TBS, I believe, and it would come on 5 days out of the week because it was so long. It was a movie. They had to play a portion of it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night in order to complete it. Now, if you watch that movie, I never forget that Shaka Zulu, which was the warrior king, Shaka, when those white people came up and said, Jesus, 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 Shaka was pissed, grabbed their Bible and said, tell them to come here. They came, he said, who is this Jesus that you speak of? And it was, oh, he's God, he's this. He said, there is only one, and that is Shaka. Now, the point I'm making is this. We had no motherfucking clue who Jesus was until those white people came and introduced us to him. Now, if you want to believe as a black people that you are from a land closer to Jesus than where they're from Europe, on the western side of, okay, it's on the eastern side of the world, but Europe is on the western side of this Asia continent or whatever you call it. And you got Africa to the right, and Jesus is right here from by Africa. And you mean to tell me none of these African people had never heard of Jesus before the white people heard of him? And Jesus was in Egypt at one time, and the Zulus had never heard of Jesus, but the white man from Europe knew who Jesus was? Listen, I was no good in Sunday school as a child. I would question this type of a shit, and they had no answers for this type of shit because I understood exactly what they were doing. MK Ultra, mind manipulation. It's all about pumping fear into me so that they control the narrative. Anyways, black people, pray for this young man. Pray for his family. Pray that black people get stronger and start fighting the fuck back. I think I've said enough about this topic. Tony.
Stand on top like I'm King Kong. Paddle niggas like a ping pong. Run my block like I'm King Von.